book. I've only done bits to mine. I haven't done huge amounts inside. I've just put a little bit of, you know, goldness on mine. And I've done that bit, and I'm going to add that on here as well. I haven't done that bit yet. But I've matted mine onto bits of card just to give me that kind of definition, I suppose. And I've added those on there. I haven't done anything in there yet. And then I've done these. Now I'm going to add some more to this yet, but I don't know what. I haven't decided. But that page is going to look like that when it's done. So I've done some bits, but I haven't quite finished it. But it doesn't matter because we can go back and do this afterwards. So what I want to do tonight is I want to do the other part of that page, which is this one. And I've put the cutting guide. Oh, good. I'm glad that was good. Because I tell you, it's actually really difficult to pronounce. We're going to do these pages here that open with this split pocket here at the back. So we'll do that, and we'll you know, base mat these things, and then it's not going to take long. And we're going to do this page over here, which is this one, just the kind of, it's like a stack pocket matted, and then we're going to do the front, but this is actually magnetic. So we're going to have a look at how to put the magnets on. So we finished last week with those two opposite pages, which were the scrapbook style pages. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out those 4 pages which I gatefolded to go on there. So let me grab my trimmer. Oh dear, look at the state of my mat. It's got coffee stains and all sorts on it. It hasn't stayed very clean, I have to say. Terrible, really. Right, so here's my trimmer and my card. Hold on, let me just grab that. Here we go. And first of all, we're going to cut out those 4 pages that gatefold onto the back of that page. So I want to cut 2 at 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Don't throw bits away because we can probably use these for inserts and things. Put those in my box over there. So 2 at 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. And 2 at 6 by 7 1/4. Okay, so pop your trimmer to one side and get out your scoreboard. Pardon me. Okay, so starting with the 2 pieces that are 7 1/4, because they're square, it doesn't really matter which way round we score it. But put it on your scoreboard and just score at 1/2 inch, just on one side, because that is going to form a flap. Okay, and you're going to do that the same on both. And those are the inside flaps. Then on this other one that is 6 by 7 1/4, I want you to score on the 6 inch side. So that means putting the 6 inches at the top. Evening, Jill. Just score it at 1/2 inch. And that's the same on both. So with the 6 inches at the top, score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Right. Something a little different for you tonight. I'm testing out the smaller bone folder. This one. I opened it up this morning because I've been saying for ages I'm going to try it. That's the big one and that's the little one. There is quite a difference between them, but I just thought I'd give it a go and just see if it's any different. I've been using it today and I quite like it. Hi, Carol. So I'm just going to fold on that score line and use my bone folder to burnish. So if you've got like maybe slightly smaller hands, you might find that this just fits in a little bit better. I quite like it, I'm not going to lie. Hey, Diana, hello. Hi, Tracy. How was lunch? Huh?
Ours was very filling.
Yours was filling. Your tea was?
My dinner.
What, your dinner? Your tea? Yes, Mark came home from work and his dinner was on the table. I don't think that's ever happened in all the time we've been married, has it? Well, actually, it did. It used to at the beginning. Then I got bored of it. Right, okay. So we've got these two larger ones and they're going to gatefold one on top of the other like that. And then we've got these two that fit on top like that. Let me just double check that it is that way around, because now I've done it, I'm second guessing myself. Ooh. Yeah, it is the smaller one. Okay. So what I want to do is, first of all, I'm just going to glue this smaller one on top of the larger one, just like that. So it's just going to glue on top like that, so that flap opens on top. So I'm keeping the flap to the left hand side so that they're both opening the same way. Oh, flick. That's the story of my life. No, behave, Carl, behave. So I'm just going to glue that directly on top of that one like that. Just make sure it sits on right. Yep. So when I open that up now, got that flap that opens up, and then this flap will sit. Actually, we could just glue it straight on. Bit of glue on that flap. And just pop that on top there. Make sure that's all in line. Just glue it. And we're going to do the opposite end in exactly the same way. So that opens up like that and then like that. Okay, so I've got my wider piece. This time, not that it matters at this stage, but this time just so that I know I've put my flaps to the right. Pop some glue on. Like that. Stick that on top. And then I'm going to add this over that side. I'm running out of glue. Okay, so this is going to go on there like that. Line it up. It should fit top to bottom exactly.
I actually think she would lose the small one.
I haven't yet, but I've no doubt I will, because I lose the big one. But I must admit, I like the way it feels. I like the way it just fits in my hand. I think I've cut that a bit long. I might have to trim that down a bit. Okay, right, so now, when I open it, that's how it's going to be. And then I'm going to use one of Mel's Marvellous Little Clips to clip that together. So now, before I put this in my book, I want to mat it. Now, make sure that you've got it the right way round. So that's the back. That's going to go there. So I know that this needs to be this way up. So what we're going to do here is one of these slit pockets, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, I'm going to choose some paper to go in the middle.
Jill asks where it's going.
This is going right. We've got these 2 pages, which were our sort of scrapbook style pages. Then this is the page on the other side. So this is this bit. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is this slit pocket, which goes in here, and then it closes like that. Actually, it closes like that. Okay, so this is page 2, and then we've only got 1 page left after this. So I'm going to choose some paper. And I'm going to think about what I'm going to put on the other 2 pages as well. Now that actually might be quite nice if I can cut it down right. So, right, let me have a think. That's 10 inches, so I need to cut 1 inch off each side. So that should be 12 inches. Yep, so cut that down to 11. And that'll give me my middle. Cut that one down to 10. Actually just under 10 because I need to have a bit of a gap. I'm just going to cut another 1/8 of an inch off that side. And then I'm going to cut that down to 7 1/4, or actually just slightly under. And then that should fit in the middle. There, I'm just going to have to cut that down. It's ever so slightly too long. It's annoying me. This is where I mess everything up. Hi Miranda, I'll let you off. Trim that down slightly. And on that side as well. This is going to be easier said than done. Oh, what was that? It's gone forever.
It wasn't a cat.
I don't know what it was. Oh well, I guess I'm never meant to know. Oh, I can't. Oh, this is the joy of being left-handed. Well, I didn't quite mess it up as much as I anticipated. Right, okay, let's see if that fits in there. Yes, it does. Now, what I need to do is cut the slit for the slit pocket. So let's measure what I've done on this one. Going to be 2 3/4 inches up, so I'm going to draw on the back So 2 3/4 inches up. Well, I didn't measure that very well. You were sorry?
Janet says it's high and by.
Oh, hi Janet, thank you for popping in. And then 1.5 inches in from each side. So I'll measure this and then I'll show you what I've done. So 1.5 inches. Okay, so what I've got on the back here is I've got a line that is 2 3/4 inches up from the bottom and 1.5 inches in from each side. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my knife and I'm just going to cut along that line. So, I'm trying to get used to this knife. I've lost my others. I don't know where I've put them. So,
or where the cats have put them.
Or where the cats have put them. That bird came in for them, I'll bet. So I'm just going to cut straight down that line to make a slit in my paper like that. Okay, so I've got a slit just like that. Now I'm just going to ink the edges.
Which is where you need to use your quilting ruler.
Oh, yes, that would have worked. Oh, Louise, I used it the other day on some chipboard and what a difference. You were so right. Yes, absolutely. It makes it so easy. Right, okay, so I've just inked round the edges. Now, before I glue it down, there's a couple of things that I have to think about. When I put this in my book, I'm going to want to slip tags into here, okay? So if I put some sticky tape, double-sided tape, along the top, above that slit, that's going to hold it onto my book. But when I come to glue onto the back of the paper, I'm going to need to make sure that I only go around the outside of this bottom bit because this has to stay unglued, okay? So let me grab my, oh, avalanche. Let me grab my tape. And I'm just going to stick some double-sided tape on the top above that slit on the back, okay? So I've got some double-sided tape there on the bit that's going to stick to my book. Now with my glue, I can put as much glue as I like on this top bit, but very little on the bottom. So, let me just get that ready. I just take that tape cover off. Probably would have been easier if I got new glue. I'm just going to put a bead of glue around the outside of the bottom bit, and I'll show you this in a minute. But the top bit, oh, trailing my jumper, the top bit I can put glue all the way along the top because that's going to stick to my book. But this bottom bit, I need to make sure there's no glue because I want to be able to put my tags in. So I'm going to grab my book, make sure it's the right way up, and I am going to stick this into the middle of that page we've just made, like that, and glue that down, okay? So now I've got a pocket where I can put my photo maps in. Now, this bit is quite vulnerable to tearing and such like. So what I've added it onto a piece of card for strength, and I've just added that as a design feature across there. So if I just find some paper that's going to look nice there, let's have a look. I could use this one actually. There's nothing stopping me using what I've used before. That one maybe. I'm going to cut a piece that is roughly 1 inch wide. Maybe a little bit more actually because of this paper. It's entirely up to you how wide it is. Say 1.5 inches on this one because it's just really nice paper and it keeps that bit of the design in there. It doesn't, there's no set sort of size for this. You can make it as wide as you like. It's really just there to strengthen. And I'm just going to take 1 inch off either side. So that is going to sit there like that. So I'm just going to ink my edges. Grab some black card. Must have some spare somewhere. Yep. Just mat that, cut it down. Okay, so I've just matted that onto a piece of black card, and now I'm just going to glue it underneath where that opening is. I've got no nails. Underneath where that opening is, just to give it some strength so that when we're slipping in and pulling out photo mats, we're not going to be likely to rip our paper.
And why did you cut your strip of paper?
I cut mine about 1.5 inches, but it's 1 inch on that one. It's entirely up to you. You know, what paper you've got, which bits you like. Okay, so let's just try and put that in the middle, and I'm just putting that up to where that slit is. Okay, so now I can just put in my photo mats in there and my paper is safe from ripping. Okay, so now I'm just going to base mat these two, which I think are 6 3/4 by 7 1/4. So let me find some nice paper. Actually, I might use the other piece of that. Oh no, it's not going to be big enough, is it? What shall I use? That one's quite nice with it. Or that one. Oh, we use the blackbirds. Oh, I've only got one sheet of that. So I used it, didn't I? Yep, I'll use the brown ones. Okay, so six and 3/4, just under. By just under 7 1/4.
7 1/4.
Yeah.
6 3/4 is
Then on top of these, you could add photos or journaling or, you know, whatever you fancy. Let's just make sure that fits. No, because I can't count. Well, I can. I just need to trim it down a bit. So I'm just going to ink the edges. And I can pretty up these later and put a few little bits on. I might cut out some of these flowers and add some of those on later. I will see how I feel.
Beatrice says hi.
Hi Beatrice. Hope you're well. Right. Okay, now in the Green Witch page book, these bits had pockets on. So if I close those, you can see here that what I did was I cut out some of the design paper and made a pocket out of it. So I just chose some of the design and I just cut round it. It is matted. So let's see what we're going to use in the orchard paper. Right, now, because these are opposite sides, I'm going to have to think about this when I cut it. So, how wide did I say it was? 6 3/4. Yes. Yeah, 6 3/4. So, I'm going to have to cut it from opposite sides. So, I'll cut this one from the right. At 6 3/4 or just under, and then by 7 1/4 or just under. Oh. And then this one I'll do it the opposite way round. So I've got these two opposite pieces cut like that. Okay, so they form the hole like that. Now, actually, on reflection, I've just cut that too deep. So it doesn't matter how deep you cut it, because this is going to form the pocket. I'm going to cut mine at 4.5 for the depth of the pocket. And I'm just going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to cut around this design just to give us a bit of added interest. Okay, so that will form one of my pockets like that. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side, except obviously it's the other way around. Now I could have made this like a very traditional pocket, but it was going to be a little bit too bulky. So what I've done is I have simply matted these fussy cut pockets onto the card and cut it out with a bit of a, what's the word I want, with a bit of a sort of a lip round it. So I'm just going to quickly I'm just going to check that they are the right size, because I have a feeling it might need trimming down a tiny bit. Let's have a look. Yeah. Just trim that down a tiny bit. So look. Yep, that's much better. Okay. I'm just going to ink those edges. And I'm just going to glue these directly onto some card, leaving a little bit of a gap. I don't know what you call it. You know, so you can see the cardstock. Here, I'll show you. Let me pop it on and then I'll show you. So I've matted that on so that I've got this edge all the way around there. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. You've been very quiet, dear.
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks.
Yes, it has. So let's just pop that on there. And now I'm just going to trim it. So if I trim that off like that for now, I'm just going to trim that so that I've just got that edge all the way around there, and then I'm going to come back and fussy cut that bit in a moment. Now, while I'm here, I want to cut a piece to go behind. So, 6 3/4, wasn't it?
Yes.
The width was 6 3/4, so let's just cut that. Slightly underneath. Let's make sure that fits. Still a bit wide. It's going to be one of those days when nothing measures right, isn't it? Right. Let's just ink around those edges very quickly. I'm just going to glue these on because this is the back. This is this bit here that I'm doing at the moment. So let's just pop that there. And there. I'm going to horrify you all now. I'm going to tell you that I love this Fall Orchard book. I thought, you know, the Green Witch was my hands down favourite. But the more I've worked with these papers, the more I have come to love them. So now what I'm doing is I'm just cutting around my pocket, just around those bits that we fussy cut. And I'm just making sure that I'm leaving that sort of like 1/8 of an inch gap on the cardstock so that you can see the cardstock. Around the bit that we fussy cut. Well, I'll show you this in a moment when I've done it so that you can see exactly what I mean. So I'm following the lines of what I've fussy cut, and I've got this pocket now that's got the cardstock showing all the way through. So that is going to attach there on top like that, and I've got my pocket. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bead of glue just around these straight edges, not the fussy cut edge, the straight edge, because this is a pocket. And I'm going to attach it on top of that page there, like that. Just hold it down a moment. Make sure it sticks. Doesn't want to. So now what I've got is a pocket here that I can put my photos in. I'm just going to hold that down for a moment because it doesn't want to stick. And now I'm going to do the same with this side. There are still a couple of this Fall Orchard kit left in the Halloweeny one. I'm not sure if I've got 1 or 2 of those left. There's really not many. And just a couple of the Fall Orchard. So if you do want some, if you do want one, go and grab it now before they all go. Right. Okay. So once again, I'm just putting some glue just around the edge, just like that. And I'm going to glue that into my book. There. Oh, that's a pity. Okay, so now I've got my back pocket there with the slitted pocket there, and I've got those 2 bits here. These I'm just going to plain mat with just some whichever papers I like, and then I'll stick some photo mats on there afterwards. But I'm just going to plain mat these before I put them in the book. Okay, so these are 5.5. Oh, look at that. So just under 5.5, that's already the perfect size. I don't know how I managed that. By 7.25 or just under. Right, let's just make sure that fits. A little bit too long. Okay, and now I need to decide what I'm going to put on that front bit. Oh, stretch. Oh, gold. Got to be done. Right. What did I say that measurement was?
5.5 by 7.25.
5.5. Oh, thank you, dear.
Make your jar.
Okay. So once we've done this, I want to do the next page. Oh, well, we need to stick this in the book. Then I want to do the next page. And before we go tonight, I want to talk about the very, very front and adding the closure, which is magnetic. So we don't want to be decorating the very, very front bit just yet. That's going to be something that we've actually done after we put the page in. This is the only one that's the exception to the rule. But the last page, obviously, we have to bear in mind how we're putting the spine in, because we've got to join the floating hinge to the spine. And consider the magnets. But we are getting there, and then next week I want to go over all of the inserts and make sure that they're all nice and done.
Indeed.
And then the week after I think we'll start on our Christmas book, shall we?
Oh, yes.
And if you watch this space sometime in the next week, I'm going to be telling you about a little extra class that we're going to use our stash for. That's all I'm saying at the moment. But something exciting is coming up. A little extra surprise before Christmas. Okay, last one. Oops.
Why is Mel putting loads of question marks?
Oh, because I haven't told her yet. Because I only... Oh. Well, no, because the only reason I haven't told you yet is because I didn't know until about 3 seconds before we came online. So I'll tell you as soon as we're done. That's the only reason. I'm not leaving you out, I promise. Right, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add our next page in. So at the moment, we've only got one hinge left. Oh no, where are we going to put our cover? Well, don't worry, we'll sort that out in a minute. So I'm just going to snip and mitre that hinge like that, you know, just cutting off the edges. And don't you worry, you can always go back and watch. It's nice to have you join us anytime. Right, okay, so that's there. So now I'm just going to attach my last page. Oh, I think I need to steal my thing, keep that together. Pop that page in, line it up. There we go. And stick it down. Okay. Oh, don't be scissors. Right, so that's another page in the book. To make sure it's stuck down really well. Very important. Yuck. Right, now we've got one page left, which is our cover. So I'm just going to put that to one side for a moment, my book. And what I want to do now is work on this very last page, which is also our cover. And we're going to make this little pocket here. Now, if you look at it closely, let me see if I can show you. This is a stacked pocket, which we've made before, on top of a matted piece, for want of a better description. So let's get on with that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trimmer and I'm going to cut out the piece that we're going to stick the pockets onto, which is 6 by 8 3/4. That can't be right. Oh, yes, it is. 6 by 8 3/4 inches. Okay, and that's this bit that goes there like that. Okay, that's that bit that goes on there. So the first thing that we have to do is mat that with some pattern paper and also mat the page, which I know I've made, but I've got bags with so many bits in there that I don't even know which is which anymore. I looked everywhere for those today. No, I didn't, because I've just found them. I knew I had some more. Here it is. So that's my front cover. So I need to mat, I'm not going to mat the front cover, I need to mat the back of it. So I'm going to use that green and gold apple that I used earlier. And I'm going to cut this at just under 10 by just under 7 1/4. And that should fit exactly. Needs a bit of trimming.
10 by 7 1/4.
Yeah. And now I can't read anything because my sister's just messaged me. And it's gone right in front of all of your comments. Hang on, just let me remove my lovely sister. Oh, hang on. No, let me go back. Did she say what I think she said?
What? Don't repeat it.
No, it was that stuff from Boots, that makeup that I wanted that's half price. It's half price this week. I told her it would be. Right, okay, so just gonna... What's it, the outside of that? Oh, Mel. Oh, I feel bad now. Poor Mel. You need to send Mel lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love because she's had a really, really bad day. Oh. Do you want to? Do you want to tell us, Mel? Poor Mel. She's not had a good day, bless her. I'm absolutely amazed that she's here at all, to be honest with you. We should be honoured. I don't know why I'm getting excited about makeup when I don't wear it.
Me neither.
Well, I just am. It was just a good deal, that's all. I like a good deal. Okay, so, right, that's on. So that will go on there. So now I need to mat the back of that. And I've already forgotten how big it was. Don't say it's only the dentist. It was quite some procedure you had, Mel.
Oh, the dentist.
Yes. Was it 8 3/4 by 6?
Yes.
Let's find something nice to go on there. Let's have something nice and bright. should we have that one? Quite like that. I'm running out of things I've still got. No, we're going to use that one. And poor Mel's had a problem with this too since before, well, just as lockdown started, wasn't it, Mel? Well, she's put up with it for a long time. Oh no, what have I done with it now? Where's the piece that goes on there? Have I cut it up? There it is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's all right. So let's map that. I think before class next week, I'm going to get some new glue. Okay, right. Okay. So I find it's easier to put the pocket directly onto here before we put it onto there. So what we need to do now is get some of our plain cardstock and we need to cut the stacked pocket. So we need to cut one at 8.5 by 5 and one at 8.5 by 3. Seems very strange to me. Let me just check that. Eight and a half by 4.5. The big one is 8.5 by 4.5, not 5. Well, it's not a proper class if I don't get at least one measurement wrong, is it? Okay, right, we can put our trimmers away for a moment. Hi, Christy. And these we're just going to cut. We're just going to, what am I doing? I'll tell you what, I have measured these all wrong. Not measured them, just talked about... No, that's right. Oh, hang on. Let's do this one first. Right, the small one, 3 inches. You're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 8 inches on the 8.5 inch side. And turn it around 90 degrees and score at 1/2 inch on the 3 inch side. So that's just like a normal pocket, okay? This one, I want you to score on the 8.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And I want you to score at 8 inches. Now hang on a minute. Right, it's not 4.5 inches, it's 4 inches. I think. It might be less yet. Hang on a minute. I'm just not having a good day. I'm just going to score it at 1 inch a minute. Hold on. I'm sure that's not right either. No. It needs to... 3.5 inches. Let's go for 3.5 inches, shall we?
I mean,
Well, don't, because I'm still not even convinced that's right. It's not. Two and a half inches. I don't know what I was thinking this afternoon. I didn't even have my dad ringing me as an excuse. Right, so 2.5 inches. It's 8.5 by 2.5.
So the big one is actually the small one.
Yeah, so the big one's now the small one. Right, 8.5 by 3. I got that one right. Luckily, they're all talking about Mel's teeth now, so, you know, this is all right. Nobody's noticed how horribly wrong this is. And then this one is 8.5 by 2.5. Yeah?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Hang on, just let me get some of this mess out of the way. Right. Yes. So, 8.5 by 3. And we're scoring at 1/2 inch on each end on the 8.5 inch side and 1/2 inch on the 3 inch side.
Yes, we've done that.
Pardon me, so that's right. This piece is 2.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 8.5 inch side and at 8 inches on the 8.5 inch side. And then I want you to score at 1 inch on the 2.5 inch side. Now you can put your scoreboards away. Now I finally got it right. Right, okay, so scissors. That must have been what I dropped. It was. So we're going to start with the bigger pocket, which was originally the smaller one. Right, Jane, the pockets are 8.5 inches by 3 inches and 8.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Okay, so on the pocket that's 3 inches, we're just going to snip up to the score lines where they intersect and kinky mitre those corners for Mel. Okay, fold that over just like an ordinary pocket like we have made hundreds of times before. Just burnish that pocket there. And then we're going to glue it onto the bottom of this page here, which was the mat that we made last. So that is going to just glue onto this mat, but it needs to be, it's about 1/2 inch. So it's got half, can you see, it's got about 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/2 inch in from each side. Okay, so you're just going to glue it in like that. Right, the stacked bit, we're going to snip where we've got the inch score. We're going to snip up to the inch score to where the score lines intersect. and then we're going to snip down like that, so you've got a bit of a funny shape. So snip up to where the score lines intersect and then snip down like that. Okay, if you just fold these over, I'm not going to burnish it yet because I want to make sure it fits, and then I'm going to pop that in there to make sure that I get a nice fit before I glue it down. Okay, that fits quite nicely. So now I'm going to burnish this. Pop on some glue. Slip that pocket inside that one and glue that down. Now we do need to mat these, but I'm not going to do it right this second because we've still got a bit to go tonight and I don't want to keep you all too long. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this onto that page in the middle like that. Okay, make sure it's centered side to side and top to bottom. Okay, and I will need to mat these, but I'll do that in a minute. Because the next thing that we've got to do is put this actually in the book. Now, this is a little bit more complicated because we've got to attach these two bits together. Okay, so this is actually a hinge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that bit of the hinge there, and I'm going to line up my spine on top like that and glue it down, and that now forms my hinge. Okay, so that's my hinge, and this is going to fit on there like that. So now I've glued that down, I'm just going to mitre it a little. I'm going to pop some glue on both sides of this hinge, and I'm going to pop my page on top like that, which will form the front cover of my book. And that is how we attach our hinge and the spine. So now you see it's all one unit. Now you can stick some stuff in there if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so that is now the front cover of my book. Now, the closure is magnetic. So do you remember the very, very beginning, I chose one of the square bits to be the front of my book. Now let me see if I've got it still. I think I chose "You Are the Apple to My Pie." So I'm just going to cut that out. My book to one side. I'm just going to ink round the edges. And I'm going to stick this on a piece of cardstock. Okay. And I'm just going to cut that round. leaving an edge again. Okay, now you'll notice that I still haven't glued, put any paper on there. I don't want to, but I need to put this on, which is going to this is going to form my closure. Now, if I open that book up like that, you'll see that what I've got here is just some plain black card. So I'm going to need to cover that. So I'm going to cut a piece ready, but I'm not going to stick it on yet. Now you've got 2 of these. If you're using these papers, keep that because we're going to do something with it in a bit. But I just want to find the papers that I kept.
Who was it who suggested using a Sharpie to ink edges? Was it Adam?
No, it was Ruth, wasn't it?
Ruth?
Was it Ruth? I think it was Ruth. So that's going to be the front of my book when I get round to it. Let's just see if that's going to be enough. Yeah. Okay, so, right. Like a typical crafter, I'm getting less and less room to work. So, magnets. If you had a kit, you had 4 magnets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach those next. So, here's how I do it. I want some double-sided tape. What a mess. So that's going to attach to my book like that. So my magnets are going to go on this side here. So I'm going to pop a little bit of double-sided tape there. And I'm going to stick 2 magnets on like that, okay? Just cut that down. 6 inches. And that bit doesn't need to go all the way across because this is going to stick to my book. So I've just got an odd piece. It's not very wide. It's about just over 2 inches wide. It's not any particular size. And I'm going to glue this over the top of my magnets like that. Okay, so that's glued over the top of my magnets. Okay, so back to my book. This is going to attach on there like that, but now you can see that this is tidy. So I'm going to take some glue. If I can get it out of the bottle. I wonder how many litres of glue I get through a year. I dread to think too. Let's put some glue on that. And now I'm going to attach it to my book. Making sure that when I open it, I can't, oh, it's covered in glue now. I can't see any of the black card. But my magnets, I can feel them underneath. Okay, so I can feel my magnets here. That's going to go like that. Now, here's how we work out where the magnets have to go on this page. Now we've got that on there, I can take my magnets and just place them on top. They know where they're going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spot of glue on each magnet. This isn't going to stick it, it's just so we can see where it goes. And the next thing I'm going to do is just make sure that my book lines up exactly where I want it to go. And I'm going to fold this over. Pop that down. And that leaves 2 marks where I know that my magnets are going to go. I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. Lay this back down. And now that double-sided tape should, well, if I hadn't put quite so much glue on, should pick up the magnets. There they are. Okay. Now, my other front piece, which I put somewhere safe and now lost. Did I already cut that to size? No, I want to cut that to size. So this is going to be just under 10 by just under 7 1/4. Okay. Now, when we put this on, you might find that the magnets don't catch brilliantly at the start, and that's fine because they will catch once we start filling up the book with inserts. So don't worry if they don't feel right at the very beginning. It'll be just because your book will be a bit too thin, because remember, we haven't finished decorating it. We haven't added any inserts. So don't worry if it doesn't catch perfectly. It will. Okay. So let's pop that on top. Okay, that's the front cover of my book now on. And when I fold that over, that should clip into place. It does, but it still needs some bulk in the book yet, as you can see. Once we start bulking it out with bits and pieces, that's going to sit a whole lot better. Okay, but it just needs all the inserts, and I don't know if that was in shot. It just needs all the inserts and stuff in. It hasn't got them yet, which is why it's not sitting quite right, but it will. Okay. Now, before we go tonight, I just want to go over this bit, and it's something that I did on my green witch. I cut out this image again, just for a bit of interest. I popped it on some bits of chipboard, or you could use foam pads, that sort of thing, and I layered it on top. So I'm just going to do that before we go, just to show you, just for a bit of interest, shall we say. So I'm just going to cut round this image here. I'm deep in concentration.
No, I can hear.
Sorry. Okay. So I've just cut that out. And what I'm going to do now is find some more bits of chipboard, which, you know, I've got loads hanging around. Too big.
Too big enough.
Let's cut a little more off. Okay, and I'm gonna oh man, come on.
Man, oh man.
Stick that on there. Stick some glue on there.
Bonfire night tomorrow.
Is it bonfire night?
Tomorrow.
Oh, we can block the Houses of Parliament. Great stuff. And I'm just going to pop that onto the top of there like that. Can't really see it. It's just a little bit of added interest, really. Just makes it a little bit more, you know, interesting. So, like I said, don't worry if this doesn't catch properly at this point. We've still got a lot of bits to put inside, but that's just kind of the front of my book at the moment, and I'm kind of really liking this, to be brutally honest with you. I shouldn't blow my own trumpet, but I rather do like it. So that's the book together. We've still got to do all the inserts, so we'll do those next Wednesday, 7:30. So that's what I'm going to do for tonight. But in the meantime, do you want to have a look at the sub book? Because I did actually bring it up, so you can see the size of it. Although the kits have all gone, they went quite some time ago, I'm afraid. I will say that you can still buy the class if you want to. Oh, here it is. Oh, squished. What a mess. But that's the Christmas sub box book. So it's 8.5 inches by, I think it's 8.5 by 8.5 actually. But you'll find that a lot of the images were just so nice. I just wanted to use them on their own. So I've kind of added them on acetate just so that you get, you know, the joy of them, you know, just on their own. I mean, that Santa is just gorgeous, and I didn't want to cut him up. So you can, like I said, just have the class. That's a little pocket. And Mel showed me her idea for the charm today, and I have to tell you, the woman is a genius, because I didn't know what on earth. I mean, we'll talk quite often about what might work, but I had no idea at all what to do for this. And she was hilarious. She said, give me 5 minutes. She goes off and she comes back and she's knocked something up, which isn't going to be like the proper one. But oh my goodness, I would never have gone down that road, and it is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. She's a genius, that one. So that will be going out in December. So I'll keep you posted on that. Other than that, I don't think I've got anything else to tell you. I'll keep you posted about this extra special class or set of classes that you can all take part in. And I'll keep you posted about those. But otherwise, no homework this week other than just jazzing up your pages. I'll tell you one thing that I did have. If you're using this paper, one thing that I was going to do, but I couldn't find a photo, was how cool would it be to put a photo of somebody's head in there. And I thought that's got to go in the book somewhere. So I'm going to work on that anyway, and I'll do some sort of daft little person's head to go in that, because I thought that would be really cool, and add that into the book somewhere.
What papers are there?
Which ones? The Christmas papers. The Christmas papers are Stamperia. Oh, wish. Make a wish. Make a wish. I keep wanting to say wish upon a star, but I know that's not right. So yeah, make a wish. Make a wish. If you can get it. It's last year's and it's out of print. Because if I could get more, I would. But I had the last of them with the wholesaler, so I don't know. All right, thank you, Miranda. Yeah, because I got it wrong with Miranda when we spoke earlier. Yeah, make a wish. It's Stamperia anyway. So, right, thank you very, very much. I will see you all next Wednesday, if not before, because I'm sure I'll be knocking about in the group. And by the end of the week, the Christmas kits should be on their way. So watch the post boxes, and I'll see you all really soon. Bye.
Oh.